Alright, I'm Chris here, and we're going to be talking to you all about tablets and the differences if you're going out shopping for one. So let's start with the beginning. Everyone knows, first thing you come to whenever you think of a tablet is the iPad. For better or worse, that's just the market leader right now. That's what you're going to think of, and more importantly, that is the market, that holds the lion's share of the market. But I'm here to talk to you about some alternatives. Let's start by breaking down the kinds of tablets. I'm going to break them down for just to start with low-end, low-quality, and that's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be stuff you can find for less than $100. Some groceries like H-E-B and Albertsons will even have tablets that aren't even a big brand name, maybe Yoshiba or some other third-party knockoff that I really wouldn't recommend. They're marketed as media viewers, and I've even seen some for as low as $45. Do not, under any circumstances, pick up one of these tablets. It's just not worth it. It's going to be a headache for you. You're going to have to return it because you're not going to like it, and it's just not a good tablet to buy. Next, let me see. Next, let's go into something called low-end, high-quality. And that's not necessarily high specs. That's low-end, low price, but high experience. These are the more brand-worthy names. They're the Amazon, the Nook, and the Touchpad. That Kindle Fire, which is the Amazon, is going to be a low-end tablet. It's only $200, but you're not going to be getting a lot of the features you would be on many other tablets. You're going to get a media viewer, an extended media viewer, because Amazon has streamlined the media buying process so that's what the tablet is primarily for. You're going to be getting on it, you're going to play Angry Birds, you're going to play maybe the biggest name Android games, and you're going to be buying movies and buying music. So if you're looking for something like that, that's maybe a tablet to consider. But you're going to be locked out of a lot of the bigger programs that you may want to get, a lot of the more software intensive programs that you might want to get. And since it's not an open Android format, you're not going to be able to get all the apps Android will normally offer. So if someone says, I found this great new app on Android, that doesn't necessarily mean the Kindle Fire is going to have it. Next, the Nook Tablet. It's considered by many to be the Kindle Fire's direct competitor. However, I'm not particularly fond of it. You might have seen it in some Jane Lynch from Glee commercials. It's about the same as the Amazon Fire, but you will have one big advantage over the Kindle Fire, and that is you have in-person support. Should you take the Nook Tablet into any Barnes & Nobles, they will provide you with free Nook support, and that is a huge advantage in that area. Plus, what the Kindle Fire doesn't have is an expandable memory. There is no SD port in the Kindle Fire, whereas the Nook Tablet has a SD slot in the bottom left corner and that neat little hook that it's got that can expand the memory up to 32 gigs with the current micro SD cards, and that is a huge advantage in that sense. Next in the low-end high quality is the Touchpad. We all remember these from the huge fire sale they had months back, where they sold for $99, and that was a big deal because this was a tablet that HP was trying to market as an iPad competitor, but it ended up flopping. Maybe not for their fault per se, because it was a good tablet. It didn't have the apps, and that killed it, and they gave up on it too soon is what I'm trying to say. But you're going to find these because of that fire sale for somewhere $100 to $120. You'll get the 32 gig and the 64 gig at more fire sale-y prices because the 16 gig sold out real quick. Now, the HP Touchpad, it is a good tablet. I like that tablet. It's got good resolution. It's got the biggest apps, like the Angry Birds apps. But because it's closed ecosystem, that is to say, there's only a very, very small proportion of the developers of the tablet still working, you're not going to get much support in comparative terms of Android or iPad. So the tablet is good, but you're not going to get much support. There's not going to be much development on it. And recently, they just released the operating system source code. So it might be incorporated into CyanogenMod, which is something we'll talk about in a little bit in the near future. So Touchpad, it's good. It's got more ports. I don't think it has expandable memory, but it does have a lot more beefy specs than you'll get on the Kindle Fire or on the Nook tablets, which makes it more comparative to a mid to high end. But because of the ecosystem, like I'm saying, we're going to move on right now. We next have the mid-range, high quality, high specs. Now these are all the tablets that you find filling up Best Buy's advertisements every Sunday. These are the Samsung Galaxy Tabs, the Motorola Xooms, the Lenovo Tabs, that are all not too expensive, but they're still pretty expensive in the $300-400 range. Not the $5 or $6, but still just expensive enough, and they're a stopgap. They're not the best, they're not the worst. The problem you're going to run into with these is that because they're not the small tablets like the Nook Tablet and the Amazon Fire, they're not going to be optimized for less specs. They're going to be trying to run the the Big Daddy applications without having the Big Daddy specs. So you're going to maybe run into a lot more lagging when you try to run spec-heavy applications, but you're not going to be able to use the minimum applications that the other tablets would use because it's trying to be a big boy tablet. I wouldn't recommend these the same as I wouldn't recommend the low-end, low-quality tablets because they're a stopgap. You're going to get a lot less of a pleasing experience, whereas you would get a pleasing one with either the low-end or high-end. So we're just going to bunch all those into one. Now we have the top end, which is my next category, and these are the ones you hear about a lot. The Galaxy Tab, top-notch ones, the ones that just came out, the iPad 1 and 2. And those are the tablets that you're getting what you pay for. You're going to bust out $500 to $600, but you're going to get a tablet that can work as fast as you can, that you can use any application on the market. Remember, it has to be the newest ones because some of the Galaxy Tabs are older and mid-tier. You're going to get what you pay for. You're going to get big-name applications. They might even release ice cream sandwich Android tablets, which is a big deal. Very, very lovely operating system. And those tablets I recommend only if you have the money and if you're into a semi-lockdown sort of mindset, because iPad is famous, Apple really is famous for not wanting to be open source. They don't want anything that's not directly handled by the creative administration, which isn't Steve Jobs anymore. And because of that, you're going to run into problems if you want to run, say, something with Flash, if you want to run Google's Voice over Internet Protocol, which is a kind of a Skype competitor, recently got downgraded, and they're not allowed to be downloaded anymore because, well, some speculate because of competition, but we don't really know. We're not going to talk about that. It's one of those categories. You have the money, you want to do it, go ahead. But for people like me, the final category is where you want to lay your money down, and that is unique tablets. Unique, not because they're the only ones of their kind. Granted, there's several million of each of these. They're unique in what they can do. The first of which is the Nook Color. Now, that's not the Nook Tablet. That is the Color, the step right before it, the black one, not the gray one. And sorry, that's Nigel. He's a kitty. It has slightly less specs. It only has 512 megabytes of RAM, but it still has that open SD card, and it doesn't have a bootloader. And what a bootloader is a locked bootloader. What a locked bootloader is it doesn't let you install your own operating system on the machine, which means that we can install something we'd like on the tablet a lot better. The Nook Color has been subject to various operating system changes, my favorite of which is called CyanogenMod. That's cyano, like blue, and gen, like generation, CyanogenMod. And they have just an absolutely beautiful, pleasing experience on Android. They have a very seamless flash, which is to put the operating system on the Nook. Seamless flash to using it. You can upgrade the processor. You can make it run up to 1200, 1.2 gigahertz, which is comparable, if not better, than some Galaxy Tabs. And it is a great machine. The problem being, and what makes it unique, is that you would not give this machine to your grandma, because if it were to start saying that the kernel needs to be updated, she would go around looking for popcorn, and that's not what we want. So it's something that you would want to buy if you have a modicum of technology knowledge, or if you really just want a hobby, kind of like what Apple was in the early 1990s. It's what the Nook Color is now. It's a great machine. I really recommend it if you're into having control of every aspect, and the fact that it runs Android and any Android you want. They're going to come out with Ice Cream Sandwich CyanogenMod, which means you can always update your operating system so long as the Nook continues to have good enough specs for it. So That is the first of the unique tablets that I'm going to cover. And again, absolutely love it. I've made a couple already for my family and girlfriend. Great machine. The second one, which I personally want and highly recommend above all the others in this review, is the Blackberry Playbook. I know there's a lot of critique, there's a lot of smack talk going around about the Playbook, but when you come back off of it, a calendar and an email client and BBM. Yeah, I know it's a big deal for some people, but it's not that big a deal. How much time are you actually spending on your tablet that you need the email and the calendar and the BBM? It's big enough for some people to start talking big smack about it, but the fact that it's going to be patched in February, and I know they've said they were going to patch it before, but February is not a long time, is minuscule. What you should really be focusing on is its specs. The tablet with its processor has an OMAP processor from TI, if I'm not mistaken, has the best, hands down best, and that's because it was first generation, multitasking of any tablet on the market today. Try go on an iPad and open every app that comes native with it and see if it slows down. See if it's even running them in the background, because Playbook can do that. You can go on to any Playbook stock from the factory and open every single app that it has loaded on it, and it will not slow down. Every app that comes with it will open just as if it was the first. The fact that its processing is good enough to handle, and its operating system is good enough to handle that level of multitasking is mind-boggling. Why would this tablet be receiving such hate if it's capable of that much power? I think it comes down to aesthetics and people preferring people preferring one brand over the other. But here's the kicker. When that patch for the 2.0 comes out for the Playbook, which will fix the email, calendar, and BBM, there's going to be a fourth edition that is going to make it just game changer. Android emulator. You're going to run into something like the Kindle Fire and the Nook Tablet, where it's Android based. I'm not sure the Nook Tablet's Android based. Kindle Fire, where it's Android based, so you can run all the big name apps from the Playbook. Yeah, it's not going to run every single app, especially things that require something found only on Google tablets, but that you'll have the capabilities of something like Kindle Fire in terms of app catalog, and you'll have the multitasking and raw power found in the Playbook. It's just all around too perfect for me to recommend anything else, in my opinion. And it's unique because you'd have to wait a little bit and put a little faith in the company to release the patch in February, which I have no doubt they're going to do. They're not hemorrhaging money like the news tries to portray them as fast as the news tries to portray them. They're still making millions of dollars of profits. The company's not going to go under tomorrow and just fail to service their Playbook. It's going to happen, and I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So with all of this put together, I, in all good conscience, recommend the Blackberry Playbook or Kindle Fire, or the Nook Color. Remember, the Nook Color is the bootloadable one. Or if you have the money and want to shell it out, the iPad 2 or a high-end Galaxy Tab. But for me personally, the Playbook. So just bringing it all together, if you have any questions about any of these tablets, or you want a more personal approach, you will have a personal question you want to ask, or situation you want to recommend a tablet, just shoot an email to the what's your thing name?
Just message or comment.
Just message or comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, or Hector. But this has been our tablet review with Chris and momentarily Nigel. Peace out.